What it dooski YouTube, it's your boy Malcolm, back again with another sneaker review. And today, obviously judging by the box, we have another Yeezy, but full transparency, honestly, this Yeezy silhouette is easily one of my favorites. I would say number 2, if not number 1. We're talking about a Yeezy Boost 350 V2, but specifically the Mono Ice colorway. And I know what you're thinking. When you hear Mono Ice, you're probably thinking of something blue. Maybe you're thinking the month of January, February. Maybe you're thinking to get your winter coat on. And when I see this shoe, that's exactly what I thought of. But I think it's the coolest thing coming out this summer, pun intended. But hey, what do I know? Let's take a closer look. When it comes to Yeezy V2s, there is a slew of releases in a bunch of different colors, cuts, materials, etc., etc. But this is definitely gonna be the one to cap off the summer, and it does not pull out any stops in terms of the colorway and in terms of the materials. However, in terms of the box, it's a regular Yeezy 350 Boost box. We have the 350 branding on the top of the box, slide out drawer as per usual, the Yeezy branding on the actual lateral side, and it's brown overall. So what you've come to expect from the Yeezy brand when it comes to the 350 V2 by now, you will definitely get. But taking a closer look, and let me tell you, just from seeing this right now, I don't think I've ever seen something like this before. This is an interesting shoe right here. It kind of reminds me of like Ice Age, if you've ever seen that movie. It kind of reminds me of a cool glass of water on a hot summer day. And it looks very organic, if we can say that. But hey, let's take a closer look. Let's go into the details of this to see how good this shoe actually is. So when it comes to this Yeezy 350 Boost, you're gonna note a couple of changes right off the bat. First things first, obviously, a different material. This is a translucent upper and it's not Primate. It kind of feels like a nylon or kind of like a fishing wire material, which is very suitable because this shoe is called the Yeezy 350 Boost Mono Ice. And the mono in that word doesn't stand for monochromatic as I originally thought. I've come to learn that it stands for monofilament. And what a monofilament is, I believe it's a material kind of similar to fishing wire. So when looking at this shoe and feeling it in hand, I can definitely feel that for sure. And I hope the camera's picking it up because it's kind of like this tensile material and it's a solely woven upper. So that means from front to back, it's all sewn together with a vertical stitch going down the toe box. So I think it's pretty cool. Definitely not something we've seen before, and it's actually part of a regional pack. So here in North America, we have the Mono Ice colorway. In other places of the world, they have the Mono Clay, which is kind of like a brown or an orangey brown color. And then in another place, they actually have the Mono Smoke, which is kind of like a dark gray color. So I'm glad they opted to give us here in Canada and America, I guess, this watery colorway, because I think it looks like a straight up slapper for summertime. So let's take a closer look at the details, and where would I start other than the upper? So the upper of this shoe, there is a lot to talk about. It is that translucent icy blue, and you can actually see the cage underneath the toe box really holding up the structure of the shoe. But let's start with the front. So when it comes to the toe box, you're gonna notice 3 things immediately. Obviously, the monofilament silhouette and the colorway and material. Secondly, there's a vertical stitch running down the middle of the toe box, and that really holds the whole upper together. It looks to me that it's a pretty seamless construction. The only differentiating factor would be the eyelets, which have a little bit of rubber around them to actually prevent any fraying, versus an all Primate upper, which has a lot more give to it. And right beside the vertical stitch in the middle of the toe box, you have the usual Yeezy V2 stripe branding. And this time, it's actually the same material as the rest of the upper. So for the Primate versions of the shoe, which you've come to know and love, they usually opt to give you a different material in a contrasting color. This time around, it looks and feels like to me, it's the exact same material. They actually just opted to give you a different hue of the blue, which really complements the shoe because it's super minimalistic. And I think that the white and the kind of like icy blue colorway really mesh well together for what they're trying to present here as a total package. Moving on to the lateral side of the shoe, once again, all you're gonna have is that stripe branding. It's super minimalistic, and on the medial side, it is pretty boring in the sense that there's no real branding, but all throughout the upper of the shoe, mainly towards the toe box, you're gonna see that real kind of cage looking or kind of skeletal looking construction of the inner workings of this 350 V2. So I think it's a very, very cool kind of detail, and definitely not something you see every day. And moving on to the tongue, we have usual Yeezy 350 V2 rope laces, but this time they actually opted to go a different way with the materials. So on camera, it may look like the regular white rope laces, but honestly, they do have a little bit of a plastic film around them. So it makes it very cool to the touch. And I think it really helps the laces glide in between those eyelets, as the shoe will get the wear and tear. Not what you're used to for sure, but a welcome addition nevertheless. And moving on to the inside of the shoe, the inner materials on the sock liner are, I would consider them premium for sure. If this is not kind of like a satin or maybe kind of like a velvet, oh man, I hate when I forget the words I'm trying to say in terms of the materials, but it's nice. That's all you gotta know. It's always contrasted as per usual by the 3 stripes branding on the actual heel tab. And bringing us to the insole, there is a big change I want to let you know about. So it has the usual white insole, it has the Adidas branding, it has the Yeezy branding, but they actually opted to move the size tag to the insole as well. So something different than what we're usually used to, just because as you can see, the whole shoe is translucent. And if you were to have a size tag on the side of the shoe, you're gonna see it when you have it on your foot. So the Adidas design team took a page from someone else's book, put the size tag on the insole, and here we have it. I'm not gonna complain about it. My only concern is that as you wear the shoe, the size tag might actually wear off. So something to keep in mind if you're switching insoles or if you're buying a secondhand pair, that's one thing you wanna make sure that's still there for sure. And the pièce de résistance when it comes to the inside of the shoe is the actual skeletal or actual web framework. And this kind of looks like, to me, kind of like a spider web that's been run through in a field. There's a bunch of the actual foam looking material on the inner lining of the shoe, all they giving it this very, very organic or nature feeling look. Like this shoe is something crazy. It kind of looks like, once again, some plasmic goo from an alien planet, or really a spider web, to be honest. I don't know how to describe it, but I think it's sick. Not something you see every day. And the coolest thing about this shoe to me is that no matter what color sock you wear, it's gonna provide a very good contrast on this translucent material. So hey, you can bring those socks out for summertime and swag on them one time. Moving on to the back of the shoe, regular stuff as per usual. They opted to give this Yeezy 350 Boost a pull tab, which I do like. And once again, it's very on par with the rest of this shoe. It's really an icy blue, translucent as well, and it is a stiffer material. I'm a bigger fan of the pull tab, but if you're not, please let me know in the comments below. I know they kind of like to flip-flop between releases, but for me, it makes it a lot easier to put my shoes on quickly. And I think it makes it a lot easier when holding a shoe for a picture in this perspective, and it makes it a lot easier to transport just in general. Moving on to the most iconic part of this Yeezy V2 silhouette, obviously we gotta talk about the outsole. And as you can see, the outsole complements all around the midsole with its ribs characteristics. But if you were to take a closer look, it actually is 2 colors. So the first one would be the usual white rubber that's translucent and you can see what's really inside, which would be the Boost. Then moving on to the outsole part of the shoe, we have this kind of yellow with white material, which I do like. It's kind of pre-aged in that sense, so it won't be yellow that bad, given the rest of the materials on the shoe. And you can see it peeking out here already in kind of this triangle, a full Boost outsole. So it's not a crazy amount of boost, but in terms of comfort, the Yeezy is definitely hard to beat. In terms of branding on the outsole, it is minimal. As per usual, we have the Boost symbol right here on the heel, the actual visible Boost right above that, and then the see-through traction pattern towards the forefoot. So this shoe, I will say honestly, is definitely one of the most comfortable shoes I put on in recent history for sure. And I'm glad there's so many colorways because it gives you that choice to make every time you pull out one from the box. You can never go wrong no matter which way you go with it. So in terms of this shoe, that's really about it in terms of the details. I know it's a lot to kind of fathom, but when it comes to this, I think they did a cool thing while going left instead of right this time and using a different material for the summertime. And more importantly, in terms of wearability, in terms of kind of function, this shoe does fit true to size, so definitely stick true to size. I'm a 10.5 mints, this is a 10.5, and this is the shoe size I would go with. It fits pretty true. You have some wiggle room if you have a smaller foot. You can definitely go half a size down for a snugger fit. But if you have a wide foot or you're just like a regular fitting shoe, stick true to size. And most importantly, in terms of release information, this shoe actually retails for 300 Canadian before tax, and it's releasing very soon. June 18th to be exact. So depending when you see this video, that could be tomorrow or the next day or the next day. You get my drift. And if you want to stay in the loop with everything streetwear and sneaker related, as per usual, make sure to follow Nrml on all social channels. So the first one obviously being YouTube, where you'll find me, mine and Malcolm, duh. Next would be Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and also the website. They're revamping it right now, so there's a couple of new features which I definitely recommend you would check out. So that's about it for today. Make sure to like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And yes, I mean you, I'm watching you. Hit that subscribe button, quit playing with me. I know you're here every week anyways. I like these shoes a lot, and I do like the Yeezy V2 and the direction they're going. So hey, that's all I gotta say about it. But let's take a closer look at some B-roll and let you decide for yourself. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.